So to get back to what I was talking about in the video prior to this, which was supposed to have been this video, when I started going off topic quite a bit, the hero's journey with a twist is what this appears to be. And going back to something else I said in that video, it's like sometimes I say things or something will pop in my head or something of this nature, like it'll just roll off my tongue, and I don't really understand why. It makes perfect sense at the time, but I just don't know why I said it or how it makes sense. But then later on, it'll be like, oh, well, that makes sense. The story being told and the journey that you're going to go on, sounds like some of you guys have already started it, is the hero's journey, maybe with a twist. So in this, I have noticed the villain turns out to be the hero. And the fucked up part is you're the villain and you're the hero. So it is a hero's journey with a twist. It's a beautiful story, and it's a beautiful journey, and it's a beautiful path that you need to finish till the end, because it's one that when you first start it and you first start going on it, you can't see any really, if there's anything at the end of it. And then, like I've said before, it's self-destructive, so it brings great agony and misery for a while. But in doing so, you mold and build a better version of you, which is in turn beating the villain and letting the hero rise. And going back to another thing to coincide with this really quick, I made a video during the summer talking about religion and atheists, and I said something, I don't know why I said it, but it's, again, it was one of the things you just say. Towards the end of that video, I said, I was talking about rescuing your father from the belly of the beast, and how in the Old Testament, to me anyway, it seemed like God was a complete tyrant, judgmental asshole, and Lucifer possibly could have been the good guy. And then Jesus came along and brought order into chaos and rescued his father from the belly of the beast. And there's a bunch of stories in ancient texts and mythological stories that go along with this. It's not just the Bible. And after I was finishing this story, I said, what do you think you've been doing this whole time? You've been going down to rescue your father and bring order back out of chaos. And I didn't know why I said it, but this is what I do when I do videos. When something pops in my head, or when I get clarity to make a video, or I have something that someone's asked me to talk about, or I want to talk about, I just make the video. Normally, I only do one take, one cut. There are times when if I have to screw up really, really bad to stop a video and start over again. And normally I'll leave all my screw ups in it. I just try to come across as sincere and authentic as possible. So I'll leave the mess ups in there and all that, unless it's horrible and it just screws everything up. But so I left that in there because I thought about making a whole new video, because I said some things in there that I did not fully agree with after I went back and watched it, and I could have emphasized it better or structured it better, and that was one of them. But I said, you know what, we're gonna leave it in there. But all of a sudden this hit me earlier, like, what do you think you've been doing? If you don't call this a hero's journey, and you don't call this going and rescuing your father and bringing order out of chaos, what do you call it? And it's one of those things where you don't know something until you know it. So it's beautiful, though. It's like you are the villain, just like you are the devil, and you are the hero. We'll use Jesus as a metaphor here. You are the Old Testament version of God, the tyrannical asshole, and then or you can say the devil. It doesn't matter. You can say a demon. You can say a dragon, and then you are Jesus or a knight or whoever coming to do that. It's beautiful. It really is. It's like a hero's journey with a twist. It's the most beautiful thing ever. And another thing that I said was, if you watched the video, my issue with the Jesus story is how, and I know that I didn't express everything in there because Jesus did go through other things. You know, he stood up to, well, he tried to stand up to a corrupt system, which is, this system is highly corrupted. You know, we need a revolution, or we need people to wake up and let's change this. But either way, he stood up to it, and he tried to help people out, and he got crucified for it. So, I understand it was not just perfect, but the way the story's depicted, well, angels tell him he's God, perfect, perfect, doesn't sin, doesn't lie, perfect, 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 perfect. And I'm not trying to knock the story, because there's much more depth to that story. Like, he did go through trials and tribulations, but the fact that he knew up front that he was God, and the fact that he was perfect in every sense of the word, pretty much, was a turnoff to me. And then I said the better story would have been to have someone that didn't know any of this and was whatever representation of the devil you want to use, you know, that thing, and then slowly rise it up to be Christ-like. And I said, that's the story. And it hit me today, not only is that the story to tell, but that is the story. And God, it about brought a tear to my eye. It was so, it's so beautiful. It really is. It's beautiful. And this is the journey I'm on. Maybe to you, the hero's journey is completely different, and you wasn't like I was, because I was a drug addict. I was a liar. I manipulated people. You might as well say I scammed money. I made money, lots of money in unethical ways, and I regret doing that, and I do feel I have paid my price for doing that mentally. I was a bad husband. I cheated on my wife. I wasn't that great of a father. Wasn't really there, even though I was there with my kids, and all, you know, that I was always there with them, or in this sense, but I wasn't a good father the way I am now. And I was a bad son. I put my mom through a lot of stuff that I absolutely regret, and I'm trying to make up for now. So maybe it's not like that for you. Maybe, you know, especially again, a shout out to Luca. I don't know anything about your life. I do know I love you, my brother, because I am you and you are me. But it's amazing to me that you have started this so young. I mean, relish this, my friend, because you may not have as many shadows to deal with as I did. You may not have had as many dragons to beat as I did. You may not have had as many things you needed to forgive as I did, or you may have not built your monster up to the staggering altitude mine was built up to. But it's worth it, my friend, because again, going back to this, in the beginning, you don't know if it's worth it. You don't know what you're doing. You just know that you just know that you have a calling inside you, and if you don't go through with that calling, you're miserable. And then when you do go through with the calling, you're miserable at first, because what you're doing is you are killing off the parts of you that no longer serve you, and they do not want to go. The overinflation of the ego, and the persona, depending on how big you've built it up, all the things you've done, and what type of life or lifestyle you've led. can be a complete monster again to destroy, because it does not go quietly. And I remember distinctively one time, I don't know exactly, I believe it was this year at some point early in the year, me and my wife was driving and we were talking, and I just stopped because in my head something clicked and said, this part of you has to die, just like these other parts have died. And she just was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm gonna have to die. And she, of course I should have emphasized it more, but she was like, what? And I was like, this part of me is gonna have to die, because there's things that I'm doing that I shouldn't be doing. There's things I have to still overcome. There's things in me that has to heal. And in order for me to heal, I have to forgive myself, and as painful as it is, let these parts of me die off and scream and kick and cry in misery. And it is miserable. It really is miserable. But then the further you get, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you see that not only is the journey worth it, but it is far greater and far better than you could have ever imagined. It's almost too good to be true. It's almost too good to be true. I will say this: truth is much stranger than fiction, and it's just a beautiful thing. So that's why the majority of people that comment on my videos are either started the journey, sound like they're about to start it, they're somewhere in between it, or maybe they have got to that final boss and beat that final boss and got the gold. And again, you're the final boss. I've said this. You are the dragon, you are the villain, and you are the hero. And the story being told is so... when I realized that, it almost made... I was kind of in a down mood, as I'm assuming you can tell from that video that if you've watched it that I just made. And it lifted my spirits up, and it made me realize how far I've really came, and the things that I've overcome, and just how much better of a person I have been, and how selfless I have become and trying to become. Because unfortunately I'm still selfish, and unfortunately I'm still not at Christ-like, but I'm working on it, and I've made long strides. And sometimes I don't sit and pay attention to progress. It's always, I'm looking towards the next thing, and it just felt really good to just take a step back and see everything as it has happened, and what it was meant to do, and what it was meant to be, and realize I don't believe in coincidences and the random things for no reason. And then to realize the things that had happened to me, and the things that I needed to overcome and had to overcome. And I know a lot of people that do not look at themselves in a certain regard as I do. Like, I know people, of course, there's people in your life, in your personal life, that you look up to. There's people you'll run across online like this that you'll look up to. And there's, I don't look up to a lot of people. Well, again, I respect a ton of people, but I only look up to maybe 10 people at the most, what I would say actually looking up to, like. And I know a couple of these people that I look up to don't look at themselves in the same regard. And that made me think, like, you don't accept compliments, and you don't do all these things, and you don't ever just sit back and realize, you know, what you've done, and the help you are to people, and all this stuff. Because I just look at myself sometimes as that same person that was back then, that just didn't think I was shit, didn't think I could amount to anything other than just doing what I was doing. And so that's kind of what clicked to me. It was like, I was telling someone that, and they were like, well, you don't see it in yourself. And, you know, that's kind of, it's just nice to, I guess, take a step back and see it and enjoy it. So it doesn't matter how far you've went along in this. It doesn't matter what you've overcome. You should sit back and appreciate anything that you have accomplished, and just give yourself credit. Give yourself a break. Love yourself. And it's moments like this that make everything worth it. And then especially when you see the progress being made and seeing what the possibilities that there are to come, it just makes it so much. It's a good Christmas present. That's all I'm saying. It was a really good Christmas present. But it is the hero's journey with a twist. So it's the one you should take or continue to take. And again, like I said, maybe yours is not as compelling in the regard as you were a complete monster. You know, everybody judges themselves because at the end of the day, you watch your every move and you judge you the harshest. So, but focus on the positive. Address the negative, but focus on the positive. Keep making progress. And beat the dragon and get the gold. I've been saying this for over a year. And I didn't understand why I was saying it, but I fully do now. So my best advice to you is to keep the journey going. Beat that dragon and get the gold. Follow your heart and connect your heart with your mind, and you are unstoppable. I'm telling you. If you think you're lucid dreaming now, do that and find out what happens, is all I'm saying. I do love you guys, though. It's a game of form and the play of life, or eternity. I am you talking to you, and so is everyone else. And remember, follow it. Become the hero of the story. Because whether you realize it or not, you are the hero.